It began with whispers, soft at first, barely noticeable. But as days turned into weeks, the whispers grew louder. Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun breaking up? Fans refused to believe it at first. How could they? They had watched their connection bloom. From that very first press conference, to the way they looked at each other on set, to the little moments caught on camera that felt far too real to be scripted. It wasn't just acting. It never was. But then there were signs. Lee Min-ho seemed quieter in interviews. Kim Go-eun, usually so warm and open, began to keep her distance. No more matching accessories. No more Instagram posts that fans could decode. And that one award show, where they passed each other on the red carpet without a single glance. That moment broke hearts around the world. People asked, was this the end? For months, the rumor mill churned. Some claimed their agencies had stepped in, concerned about their careers. Others said it was a mutual decision, that they wanted to focus on their work. But no matter the reason, the idea of them parting ways felt wrong, like a book closing too soon. And yet, even in the middle of the noise, there were cracks in the story. A fan spotted them at a quiet cafe in Itaewon, sitting in the farthest corner. No bodyguards, no cameras, just two people talking softly over coffee. The photo went viral, and suddenly, the narrative began to shift. Then came the interview. Lee Min-ho was asked, casually, almost as a throwaway question, what his ideal type was. He smiled, looked down for a moment, and said, someone who makes me feel at peace. Someone who feels like home. Fans didn't need a name. They already knew. Weeks later, Kim Go-eun posted a photo of a sunset over the Han River. Her caption was simple. Some endings are just beginnings in disguise. The comments exploded. Was this about Lee Min-ho? Had they found their way back to each other? Behind the scenes, friends hinted that the two were talking again. Slowly, carefully, like learning to trust the ocean after a storm. They weren't rushing, but they were no longer running away from what they felt. And then, out of nowhere, came the biggest shock of all. A blurry set of photos appeared online. Lee Min-ho, Kim Go-eun, at what looked like a wedding venue. They weren't dressed for a shoot. There were no crew members, only close friends, family, and in one frame, Lee Min-ho was holding her hand. The internet erupted. Was it real? Was it for a drama? The more people speculated, the more silent the two of them remained. But silence can speak louder than words. 2 weeks later, Kim Go-eun posted a picture, a bouquet of white peonies, her hand resting lightly on top, and there, on her finger, a delicate ring. No caption, no tags, just that image. Fans cried, some in joy, some in disbelief, because this wasn't just about romance. It was about a love that had been tested, a love that had faced distance, rumors, pressure, and still found its way back. A friend of Lee Min-ho, speaking anonymously, revealed just enough to make hearts melt. They didn't rush. They didn't force it. They knew they had something rare, so they fought for it. When the news finally broke officially, it wasn't through a flashy press conference. No dramatic announcements. Just a joint statement. We've been through a lot, together and apart. But love has a way of finding its way home. We are happy to share that we are building our future together. Thank you for supporting us in every season. The wedding was private. No paparazzi. No media. Just close family, friends, and the sound of laughter spilling into the evening. Guests described the moment Kim Go-eun walked down the aisle. Lee Min-ho's eyes filled with tears. He didn't look away. Not for a single second. And when they exchanged vows, there was a pause. Not from hesitation, but from emotion so heavy it needed a breath. It wasn't the fairy tale fans had imagined. It was something better, something real. A love story that had weathered storms, only to stand stronger than ever. Now, months after that day, the two are rarely apart. They travel quietly, choosing places where they can walk freely without cameras. They cook together. They visit each other's families. And in every small gesture, every shared glance, you can see it. This wasn't just a romance. It was a choice. Every single day. From breakup rumors to wedding bells. From uncertainty to forever. Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun's journey was proof that sometimes the most beautiful love stories are not the ones without pain, but the ones that survive it. And as fans look back on every moment, the red carpets, the silent stares, the rumors, the reconciliations, one truth remains. They didn't just fall in love. They stayed in love. But perhaps what made this love story so captivating wasn't just the grand gestures or the public moments. It was the quiet resilience they both showed. When faced with trials that could have broken them apart, they had both been in the public eye long enough to know how quickly the tide of opinion could turn. One week, the world loved them. The next, rumors threatened to destroy everything. There were whispers of distance, of creative differences, of schedules so packed they barely had time to breathe, let alone see each other. And then, the breakup rumors began. Paparazzi photos of Lee Min-ho alone in an airport. Kim Go-eun spotted at a cafe without her usual smile. The headlines wrote themselves. It's over, some claimed with certainty. Fans debated endlessly online, some holding on to hope, others bracing for heartbreak. But neither of them spoke. Not a single confirmation, nor denial. In an age where everything is overshared, their silence was deafening. And in that silence, their love endured. Because while the world speculated, behind closed doors, they were holding on to each other tighter than ever. Perhaps they understood that the most precious things in life are often the most fragile. And sometimes, protecting them means keeping them away from prying eyes. It was during this quiet period that they built something unshakable, a foundation of trust that would carry them through the storms. Months passed. The rumors began to fade. New scandals replaced old ones. And slowly they reappeared in public, not with dramatic announcements, but in subtle, almost shy ways. A glance at a press event, a matching accessory at different photo shoots. Tiny, almost imperceptible signs. But to those who had been watching closely, it was clear. Their story was far from over. Then came the moment no one saw coming. A leaked photograph, blurry, taken from afar, but unmistakable in what it showed. Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun, standing under a string of fairy lights, her hand resting gently on his chest, his gaze fixed solely on her. No red carpet, no cameras meant to capture it. Just two people, in love. The internet erupted. And then, just weeks later, came the announcement that would leave fans in disbelief. A wedding. At first, many refused to believe it. Surely it was a film scene, or a promotional stunt. But no, this was real. The location was kept secret, the guest list private. No paparazzi were allowed near the venue, but those who attended would later describe it as something out of a dream. The ceremony was simple, but breathtakingly beautiful. White flowers lined the aisle. Soft music played in the background. And when Kim Go-eun appeared, wearing a gown so delicate, it seemed woven from moonlight, there wasn't a single dry eye in the room. Lee Min-ho, standing at the altar, looked as though the entire world had narrowed down to just one person, her. Their vows were heartfelt, personal, filled with promises not just for the happy days, but for the difficult ones too. And when they sealed it with a kiss,